Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is FAHMIDA CHANNA, lecturer Zoology from Government Girls Degree College, Moro. Dear students, today I am going to deliver a lecture about migration in birds. The topic takes from BSc 2 or AD 2. Birds, migration or migration in birds. The word migration has come from a Latin word means going from one place to another place. In birds, migration means two-way journey. According to Thomson in 1926, birds' migration may be described as a change of habitat, periodically recurring and alternating in direction, which tend to reach optimum environmental condition at all times. That is known as birds' migration. Birds' migration is a more or less regular, extensive movement between their breeding region and wintering region. Those birds which are able to migrate periodic trip, that is known as migratory birds. It means those birds which are in which migration is observed, that is known as migratory birds, and migration is simply known as the periodic trip of birds, that is known as migration in birds. Types of migration in birds. There are 6 types of migration in birds. Seasonal migration. It takes place according to seasons. Because show the definition of that seasonal migration from that word seasonal migration. It means according to the season. Migration takes place in birds, that is known as seasonal migration. Some birds migrate at different seasons of the year for food and breeding, that is known as seasonal migration. Example of that migration: swallows and Swiss, etc., in which seasonal migration are. Those birds which migrate during summer season, that are known as summer visitors, and those birds which migrate during winter season, that is known as winter visitors. Example of that: snow bunting and redwing. Partial migration. In this type of migration, all the members of group of birds do not take part in the migration. Only several members of a group take part in migration. Therefore, that is known as partial migration. Arctic migration. Fly in the form of group after hatching their eggs and return when prenuptial molting starts in their child. What do you mean by prenuptial molting? As just I told you before that lecture, prenuptial molting is the type of molting which takes place before the marriage. That type of molting is known as prenuptial molting. What is molting? Shed of feathers in the bird, that is known as molting. Before marriage, shedding of feathers of birds, that is known as prenuptial molting. Latitudinal migration. The latitudinal migration takes place from north to south and then from south to north because of snow in north mountains. Therefore, that type of migration takes place in birds. Altitudinal migration. The altitudinal migration occurs in the mountainous regions. When snow melts in north, birds migrate east or west or not in any particular direction or towards the migration coastal areas. In summer season and in winter season, they migrate towards plain and any valley. Longitudinal migration. Longitudinal migration takes place from east to west and west to east. The average height of birds about 4,000 to 7,500 meters. Example is golden globers, a bird. The average distance that bird is covered about 1,700 miles. Hummingbirds cover a distance about 1,400 miles in longitudinal migration. Dear students, I hope you understand very well today's lecture about migration in birds. Please share your feedbacks and comments. Thanks to all.